welcome back. We are going to be having our first matchup here between Rollercoaster and Trey. So, right off the bat, we can see their teams below, and we've got ourselves some interesting mirror match going on with near identical teams.
I'd say they're pretty close to identical.
Yeah. The only thing they're different, it looks like they're in reverse order for us, and then they've got some we can see that they are in a slightly different order, so it's not like they're working off the same rental team. Do you think that these are going to end up being the exact same items on these?
I'm not 100% sure about that. I know us actually just having that conversation with Austin a few minutes ago, kind of seeing if he was anywhere certain of what Trey was going to bring. It sounded like he had no idea. So I'm not sure if this team was built together or not. I don't think that it actually was. I think it's actually just a coincidence.
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny coincidence, especially here in Series 5. We're looking at, two teams that primarily utilize Series 3 Pokemon, Series 3 through 4 Pokemon, with the exception of kind of now you have that option for the Gigantamax on the Venusaur. So this will be an interesting matchup. I don't know how the mirror match plays out. I haven't actually heard Rollercoaster talk too much about this team, so I think it'll be interesting to see kind of what we get here. So it looks like we've got the two trainer cards getting ready for battle. What do you expect the leads to be here, Nibs?
I'd expect someone's probably trying to pull that Trick Room option up. They could also do the other option where you see Trey's starting out with the Togekiss and Tyranitar, and yeah, as you see it, there's one faster option and one slower option. I think that Austin may opt for a fire type here in the back with Torkoal to try and get that fast sleep powder off.
Yeah, it's interesting because the way that this weather is played, you know that Trey, is kind of locked into that sand, and if Austin were to go ahead and change with going for a fire, going for drought for sun, you wouldn't be able to override that. We can see here in the chat, everyone can see that he didn't actually bring it for this game. So interesting, we got Togekiss here coming out with a Love Ball, and a turn 1 Dynamax from Rollercoaster.
I'm really excited to see Venusaur's new haircut here.
Yeah. It seems like Venusaur's kind of going through some stuff, like all of us were in high school, and maybe he's having a little bit of a golf phase.
That's the quarantine cut right there, if I've ever seen it.
The quarantine cut. That's great. Yeah. So, we see a Protect come out from Togekiss on turn 1, so that'll be interesting. With double Protect with Tyranitar as well. Perhaps fearing that Torkoal's fast Sleep Powder. But instead, it looks like Rollercoaster here goes for that Max Ooze into the Togekiss. Not doing a ton of damage. It is super effective, but it is going to be hindered by that Protect.
So, Gemma, I'm not 100% sure how Austin has this team built, but with that +1 boost, I'm sure that's going to do a lot of damage to either one of Trey's Mons on his side of the field there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's going to want to follow me and he's going to be able to take a Rock Fall if that were to be Trey's option here. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think he's in a very interesting position. We know a little bit about the item of this Togekiss that we won't reveal here just in case anyone else is watching. But it seems like we're going to see a Follow Me and a Protect here, which I don't think that this is living a +1 Max Ooze here.
I don't think there's any chance.
Yeah, so now that puts Rollercoaster in a really interesting position where he's kind of free to go for that Max. I forget actually. I don't know what the move is called. The new G-Max.
I think it said it's Max Vine.
Vine Lash. Yeah, that's right.
Vine Lash. Yeah.
Yeah, and now interestingly, that Togekiss is a +2 special attack, which. A Dazzling Gleam coming out from Togekiss there sounds kind of scary. If that Tyranitar doesn't Dynamax in this next turn, and kind of given the fact that both of these trainers have Gigantamax Pokemon, I feel like it's not so much the play to go for a Dynamax on a Tyranitar when you have Charizard and Venusaur on your team.
Yeah. So, what do you think you see from Trey here? With the Charizard coming in, that's kind of an interesting. I would assume that it's going to max. Maybe not, obviously not this turn, but
yeah. It seems like it wants to protect and go ahead and... Oh, we got a double protect coming out here.
Wow.
So that is Trey's second double protect of the game so far, with Austin really putting this offensive pressure on. It seemed like Austin might have been fearing a G-Max attack from the Charizard there and wanted to preserve the Venusaur before, so it could get this Max Quake off, so...
I gotta wonder if Trey may have been caught completely off guard by Austin or Roller Coaster's first play there, where maybe he's just trying to read into everything by double protecting so much to try and see what he has for the rest of this match.
Yeah, and as we see, weakness policy is going to be the item on that Tyranitar. So now with the protect, it got the proc without taking too much damage. I don't know a ton about how this... I hadn't been paying enough attention to the speed tier of the Venusaur versus that Tyranitar, but I think that if Venusaur is moving first, that Tyranitar I don't think is living a +2 grass type move.
Yeah, I gotta assume that Trey's gonna go ahead and max his Charizard here and possibly Airstream into the Venusaur slot, and maybe that might give Trey a chance to maybe get a Rock Slide and fall for a flinch there. But he does pull the Tyranitar out, so that's interesting to see what his fourth Pokemon is.
Oh, a Dusclops. So I was thinking maybe it would have been a Torkoal there to get the extra Sun boost on this. Oh, and there we actually don't see the Gigantamax come from the Charizard.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I think he's going for the Heat Wave. He wanted the spread. Oh, and Venusaur lives on a sliver of HP to get this big energy ball
my
off.
Goodness.
Oh my god. He took that Dusclops down to a raw 1. It will faint unless it's safety goggles, which it's Eviolite. I hate to spoil that for everybody. You're not running safety goggles, Dusclops.
Are you sure that's not Focus Sash Dusclops there with falling back down to possibly 1 HP?
Yeah, it looks like a Phantom Focus Sash, so somehow hacking into the game he gets 2 items, but... Yeah, CG draws, that is a big oof there. That's a rough one, living on 1, but still being able to take out that Dusclops. So here we see Roller Coaster bringing out his own Dusclops and Trey bringing his Tyranitar back out. So we do see it as Charcoal on the Charizard, and we know the weakness policy was already procced on Tyranitar. So a little bit of interesting information.
Yeah, so what do you think happens here, Gem? I actually have no clue what's going to come from either one of these guys here. I don't think either one of them are completely out of it just yet, but I do think Austin might have better board position.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that Togekiss at +2 right now. It should eat this Heat Wave pretty well and get off an attack, which, again, because of the Protect on the Tyranitar, it's able to survive. I think Trey was hoping that might have been closer to a 2. Oh, wow, and the crit. So that's a +2 special attack plus the crit. And now, following on with the Nightshade, that's going to be enough to pick off the Charizard. So there's nothing stopping Togekiss from taking out that Tyranitar, who also just lost its special defense buff from the Sandstorm.
Yeah, so great playing from Austin there to double into that Charizard slot, ensuring that that Pokemon is going to be gone for the rest of this battle.
Yeah, we are going to see the Dynamax here. It is I mean, Dynamax Tyranitar is nothing to scoff at, but I think it's going to be hard to come back from this when you've got a +2 Togekiss that I presume outspeeds. It's going to get off a single target Dazzling Gleam. So I'm kind of curious how much damage this does. Oh, it's enough for the raw KO with the crit.
Oh my goodness, that is incredible to see.
That was an incredibly powerful Dazzling Gleam there. It was +2, you get the crit. I think that tells us a little bit about what that Togekiss's ability is, but there's still room for speculation. It could have been a lucky 2 crits. But yeah. I think the Roller Coaster really played that interestingly. It made it seem as if the Togekiss was very defensive and then just, sprung the trap card at the very end.
Yeah, I think Trey may have been playing a little bit too defensively there, like maybe getting all those protects off. Maybe if he attacked and kind of read which slot that Austin may have gone for, that maybe he could have had better board position and I mean, he needed to get rid of that Togekiss in order to have any chance.
Yeah. In chat, we see the Kakatorosu pointed out that we did see it was Scope Lens from the Dusclops. I missed that. So we everyone knows that the Togekiss is in fact Crit Kiss, because you're not running Scope Lens on a on a Serene Grace Togekiss, to my knowledge. So here it looks. I don't know. When you're looking at this, what do you think? What would your adjustment be in Game 2 if you were Trey? Other than, you mentioned trying to be a little less passive with the double protects.
I think the Torkoal with Venusaur option needs to be played better. I think that, not better, but I think that he needs to bring Torkoal here to give that Venusaur a chance to get Sleep Powder off into something. But I also think that Charizard, I think the Venusaur needs to be played less as a Gigantamax Pokemon for Trey here, and more as a sleep option in order to get that off.
Yeah, no, interesting point. So let's see how they adjust it here. So we got Austin against 2-4, who's Trey. So hopefully.
That's a nice haircut there from Trey.
Yeah. All right, we see it's Dusclops versus Dusclops and Togekiss against the Dusclops and Venusaur. So.
So we see a Lumberry.
Alright, so is Lum Togekiss? Is that what we saw?
Yeah, Lum Togekiss, and then it was Life Orb on the Venusaur.
Interesting, so they aren't the exact same teams.
Yeah, spoiler alert, it is Eviolite on both Dusclops.
Yeah, it is in fact. Yes. Yeah, CG Draws, it was in fact Eviolite. It just happened to live on a Phantom Focus Sash. So here we see the Air Slash come out into Tyranitar, probably going for some, that previously was the Dusclops going for Bulldoze and self-rocking that Tyranitar's weakness policy. No, Bob Billy MC, I don't think anyone runs anything other than Eviolite. We were mostly just joking around about the fact that it lived on 1. So now at +2, that Tyranitar is going to be pretty scary, especially threatening that Togekiss. And I don't think that the spread damage from a Dazzling Gleam is going to be enough to take the KO. It also doesn't appear to be the most defensively invested, or it doesn't appear to be the most offensively invested since it's a Lumberry Togekiss. And here we see Roller Coaster going for that Dynamax again, presumably into that Tyranitar. So, without any switches here, does Togekiss survive this turn, short of a Protect?
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
I don't think it has any chance.
It does get some nice Dazzling chip off.
Did we see a weakness policy come off with the Bulldoze, or was that just to subtract the speed?
No, that was in fact a weakness policy proc on the Bulldoze. Roller Coaster switched in and went for Bulldoze, which was a really interesting play. It's going to go ahead and eat a Nightshade here. Being at a point where... Oh, and now with that reduced speed, we see Roller Coaster's Dusclops go for the Trick Room and set up the slow mode. So now you have a -1 Tyranitar in terms of speed. That's +2 in attack and special attack. I don't know if there's anything... A Torkoal would be the one thing that would, in Trick Room, outspeed the Tyranitar. So this is interesting. If that Torkoal is in fact carrying, say, a Solar Beam or an Earth Power, that can get some big damage off on the Tyranitar.
So what, I have a big old smile on my face over here because I'm seeing what Austin is doing here, and I hate to spoil it, but...
Wait till the move goes off.
Okay. I love to see this kind of play.
Oh, we see the Eruption.
It looks like he is going to get it off, but it's not going to be as big as we would have anticipated beforehand. So he's going to go ahead and give his Tyranitar some more HP with his own Dusclops with a Pain Split.
Yeah, very interesting play, and it manages to live that Eruption and get the Max Rock Fall off, resetting the Sand, which, despite the Torkoal's Focus Sash, it's going to be knocked out in the sand here. The Dusclops does in fact reverse the Trick Room here, presumably setting Trey up for whatever's in the back.
So with the Torkoal being on the field, I would assume that Venusaur is in the back. Do you think that's safe to assume? I mean, he also has a Charizard, so it could be used for like to boost the power and the solar power and everything.
Yeah, and it's a Tyranitar. So now with the mirror match between the two Tyranitars, we know for a fact that Rollercoaster's Tyranitar is actually going to end up being slower because of the presuming they're the same speed. So it looks like they were not. Dusclops avoids the Rock Slide. Tyranitar is going to live. And nope, Tyranitar is not going to live. It's going to go ahead and take that 45 damage that it took and be knocked out here. So, and Dusclops is going to heal a lot of health back from that Tyranitar on that chain split. My God, like
that's impressive.
And we see a very similar play to what Rollercoaster did earlier in the game with Trey going for the Bulldoze to lower his own Tyranitar speed and proc that weakness policy. So this game is not over. The Dynamax hasn't yet been committed on Trey's side yet as well. So here, Rollercoaster's in a position where he's got the 3-2 advantage, but he's already committed Dynamax, and this Tyranitar is now gonna... It's, the Tyranitar is pretty threatening. So, the only thing I would be watching out for here is potentially something like maybe a ally switch is what you gotta worry about in terms of redirection. I don't know if we've seen the full Dusclops moveset yet, but that's one thing that I would be kind of concerned about. We see that...
I kind of feel like Trey's last turn with the Bulldoze may have kind of... I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, because he's going to slow his Tyranitar down, possibly making this Venusaur faster than his Tyranitar, and we do see an ally switch, and give me 1 second here. And Austin calls this correctly, and he sleep powders into the Tyranitar slot.
That is... That's a big read right there. I don't know how... I honestly think that it wasn't...
I don't think that Austin knew that he was going to ally switch. I think that he was trying to get rid of anything that Dusclops wanted to do, and seeing as defensively as Trey has been playing, he possibly predicted a Protect coming from the Tyranitar. With potentially a Trick Room from the Dusclops, which is why he would want to put it to sleep.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that in that position, Rollercoaster really wanted to put the Dusclops to sleep before it could get a Trick Room. And we do see a turn 1 Wake Up and a Max Rockfall come out from this Tyranitar. It's going to go ahead and knock out that Venusaur.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was something different I was not expecting there. And this Dusclops does go ahead and target with a Nightshade, and that is enough to take it out.
Yeah, so with it now being a 2v1 with a Dusclops v Dusclops under Trick Room, we are going to see Rollercoaster's 4th Pokemon come out. And I think in this case, given the point where the speeds are at, it'll be interesting to see, because it's also worth noting that Rollercoaster's Dusclops will be at -1 speed, so it should be moving first against the opposing Dusclops because of that Bulldoze. So it looks like I don't know the health stat on that, but I believe Nightshade should be enough to pick up the KO here.
And it is.
It is.
So excellently battled there by Rollercoaster. That was some impressive stuff from both trainers, really.
Yeah, that was a really impressive set, showcasing what a mirror match can look like, especially when you have two sets of, with completely different items, presumably very different EVs. We don't know that Trey's Venusaur there was Gigantamax. I'm presuming that it was, but we got to see our first Gigantamax Venusaur on stream. We have yet to see it use its signature move, the G-Max Vine Lash, though.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see whether these two work together or not. It seems like they didn't, and it's just an extreme coincidence that they have the same team.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, with that, give us 1 second while we go ahead and get connected. Next up, we're going to have Nibs versus Amy. Welcome back, everyone.
Yes. Hello. It is me.
That was an incredible set that y'all had there.
Thank you.
I was laughing when you both sent me your teams earlier in the day to make the overlays, and I was like, did they team build together?
I busted a gut when I got to preview and legitimately said out loud, "Oh no!" Because I don't know how the mirror match works. But oh my god! Like, first off, shout out to Trey. He's like a great player. I got lucky in that first game, but man, that was really intense and a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, so we were speculating on stream whether or not that was a read on the ally switch, or if you were just trying to put the Dusclops to sleep to ensure that Trick Room wouldn't go off.
It was like half a read, half of doing that. I knew that he doesn't want his Tyranitar to go to sleep, or even just get hit by an energy ball. Like, he couldn't take it. So I was like, he either has to protect in Trick Room or ally switch and attack. And either way, that has to do it. And if it's the ally switch, which I was pretty sure it was, I think, like, I'm going to come up, like, really, really big. Like, even if he gets a turn 1 wake, I don't think he can... And because if he reveals ally switch, then that means he doesn't have pain split recovery like my Dusclops did.
Yeah.
And, like, Dusclops couldn't solo out the match.
Yeah, no, that was an incredible set, like, seeing that mirror match. I was really hyped. I showed JD the teams earlier in the day so that we could kind of discuss and, like, be ready to talk about them. And
well, in game 2, what I thought was going to be, like, a sick play that would have just, like, won me the game immediately, I was like, oh man, is he going to follow me Trick Room? I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch in Tyranitar, I'm going to proc my weakness policy, I'll be slower than everything else, and I can just sweep from there. And they didn't do Trick Room, and I took like almost half damage, and I was like, ooh, this is not great.
Yeah.
I also thought that side pain split was going to put me out of Nightshade KO range, and it didn't, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, we were kind of speculating on that. We're like, you know, I hadn't viewed all of the moves on the Dusclops, so you locked in so quickly I didn't even see what all you had, but Nibs spotted the side pain split, so I was excited. So it looks like they are in fact searching right now. We're having a little bit of issues. We're seeing that over in our Discord. But in the meantime, that was just like, so kind of, I guess, what was the inspiration for team building? Like, did this come from an archetype that you saw somewhere else, or was it a desire to try new mons, or what?
Well, fire types just in general are like my favorite type of Pokemon. I love, like, I've chosen the fire starter every single generation. Incineroar, I love him. Arcanine's like one of my all-time favorite Pokemon. As you know, like earlier, I was running Centiskorch a lot, and I love Centiskorch. So I just love fire types in general. So even like back in Dallas, I wanted to run a Sun team just because I love fire types, and I think that the archetype is super cool. And then Sun got like a huge buff when Venusaur came out.
Yeah.
And because like Charizard, Gmax Charizard like does gross amounts of damage, and like the Sun team that I was using is like a Korean player made it, and I actually played them in the Victory Road May Challenge, and it's just like a really solid team, and it has like a bit of unexpected items and flow to it than like normal Sun teams, so that's what I think makes it really cool and a lot of fun to play.